ecosystem, as these serve as the gateway for users to access and manage their assets. The main goal of this wallet is to ensure the safety of user assets and facilitate transactions within Web3. One of the most critical aspects of mobile wallets is the security of user credentials. These credentials, which include mnemonic, private keys, password, and pins, bind our assets and allow us to access and use them within the Web3 ecosystem. Without proper protection of these credentials, our assets are at risk of being stolen or lost, and we can no longer access or use them. Today, what I would like to discuss the critical threats of compromised mobile devices and its impact on mobile wallets. When we talk about a compromised device, we mean an attacker who has gained root privilege on a user's mobile device, granting them access to the device file system and memory. These attacks can occur through various means, such as downloading malicious apps from unverified sources, opening suspicious links, or being the target of targeted attacks, especially if you are a high-profile user. These type of threats are becoming more common, as we have seen cases where Android malware can gain root access to a phone, and even iOS is vulnerable to a zero-click iMessage attacks. Once a user's device is compromised, the attacker can gain root privilege and can access files in the storage, including the DB files that store user credentials. As you can see in the top right corner, some wallets implementations mainly store their plaintext mnemonics in the DB file, making them easy to access for attackers. Attackers can also inspect process memory and extract credentials when the mobile wallet is using them for signing and authorization. There are many public available frameworks that allow process injection and API hooking or tracing if the attacker has the privilege. So, what is the key to mobile wallet security? I think it's all about protecting the user credentials from the creation, the credential use at rest to destruction. The security of the entire life cycle of user credentials must be considered. For example, protecting credentials at rest means ensuring that they are securely stored in the file system and not easily accessible to a privileged attacker. In addition, protecting credentials in use is equally important. This means safeguarding credentials when the wallet is using them to sign transactions and preventing attackers from extracting credentials from device memory during the signing process. So what are the existing protections used in mobile wallets to protect the user credentials? There are several approaches, like password encryption, hardware-based and software-based solutions. Each of them has its pros and cons when facing the threat of a compromised device. In the following slides, I will go over each approach in detail, discussing their strengths and weakness when facing such threat. The first protection approach worth mentioning is password encryption, passcode encryption. The approach aims to protect credentials at rest by encrypting them on disk. The encryption key is never saved on disk. Every time before using the credential, the user has to type in the passcode. The wallet app saves the passcode in memory and then derives the encryption key from the passcode in memory. This approach prevents attackers from directly stealing the encrypted credentials on disk. However, it does not protect credentials in use. It's important to remember that in the case of a compromised device, attackers can read and write the process runtime memory. So if the attacker can read the user type passcode for encryption key in memory and use them to recover credentials. This figure shows that we have attackers can extract the runtime memory to extract the passcode. To address the weakness of passcode encryption, we need a trusted space that is unreachable to the privileged attacker. This is where hardware-backed solutions like trust execution environment comes into play. It's also called TEE. Trust Zone is one example of TEE that's available on most ARM processors. It creates a secure world isolated from the normal world in hardware. Within this secure world, a trusted execution environment is established, allowing the trusted application to be built and run securely. The secure world is inaccessible by the privileged attackers, even if the normal world is compromised. This provides an additional layer of security to mobile devices. The application running in the secure world is called trusted applications. Trusted applications implement and export security-related functionalities for applications running in the normal world. The overall security heavily relies on the trusted applications security. So only mobile vendors such as Samsung and Apple have the ability to deploy trusted applications to provide secure functionalities for normal world application. One well-known trusted application deployed in Trust Zone is called Keystore or Chen. Keystore is dedicated to cryptographic operations in the secure world, with the encryption key never leaving the Trust Zone. This prevents privileged attackers from accessing the encryption key. However, there are still some drawbacks to this solution. Although the encryption key never leaves Trust Zone, the decrypted credentials do. Keystore is designed for generic use cases, not specialized for blockchain operations. This means that the wallet app can only use the Keystore to store and recover credentials. Once the credentials is recovered, the credential is shown up in the normal world to sign transactions. At this time, a privileged attacker can extract them from normal world memory. An incremental enhancement to the Keystore solution is adding a built-in root detection to the wallet app. This means that the wallet app implements logic such as checking the device integrity to determine whether the device has already been compromised. If it detects a compromised device, it will refuse to uncover the credentials. However, as the root detection is implemented in the normal world, advanced attackers can reverse engineer the root detection logic and alter the check conditions to bypass the detection. Once the detection is bypassed, attacker can wait until the credential being uncovered and then extract them from memory. If we take one more look at the figure on the right, we can see that as long as the credentials are used in the normal world, there's a risk of them being stolen by a privileged attacker. Now you may be wondering, what if we move the signing process into the secure world? This is a very good question. And it leads us to a more advanced solution known as wallet in trust zone. Wallet in trust zone moves the signing process into trust zone. Combined with Keystore, it ensures that user credentials and encryption keys never leave the secure world throughout the entire life cycle. It is similar to a client-server architecture, where the normal world initiate a signing request with only transaction information, and everything else is completed in the trust zone. After signing in the trust zone, only the signature is returned back to the normal world, making it much more secure than previous solutions. User credentials are now well protected against previous attackers. However, as mentioned earlier, only mobile vendors can deploy trusted applications. Currently, only Samsung provides a wallet in trust zone product called Samsung Blockchain. It's available on most Galaxy phones. I think another example is the Solana phone. I expect such implementation might be a significant security advantage for Solana phones, although I haven't received the phone yet. It's also worth noting that the signing process not only involves using the user's credentials to sign, but also requires users' authorization and confirmation. As a result, these additional attack surfaces must also be considered. That's what I'm going to discuss next. It's about the secure UI. Let's take a look at the figures on the right. When signing a transaction, the user needs to confirm the transaction details and authorize it with a PIN. However, if the attacker controls the display, they can manipulate the victim into signing off a much larger amount of tokens by showing only a small amount on the screen. This is where the secure UI comes in. It includes a dedicated secure I/O for trust zone. The secure display renders the screen when the processor is in the secure world. It ensures that the transaction details displayed on the screen are genuine. And the secure touch receives touch events that occurs only when the processor is in the secure world mode. It also prevents fabrication user confirmation. In summary, secure UI involves displaying transaction details and receive user confirmations in the secure world, so that it cannot be intercepted or modified by the previous attacker in the normal world. Now let's recall what wallet in trust zone solution can offer. It provides key protections and secure signing in trust zone, which ensures encryption key and user credentials never leave the trust zone. It also provides secure display and secure touch to prevent attackers from manipulating transaction details or fabricating user confirmations. We have talked a lot about hardware-based key protection approaches, but what about a software-based approach? That's where multi-party computing, MPC, comes in. With MPC wallets, credentials are separated into multiple parts and distributed to multiple parties. Even if one part of the credential is stolen, attackers still cannot access the other parts held by remote parties. This provides better credential at rest protection. But when it comes to credentials in use protection, there are still limitations. When signing a transaction, remote parties must verify that the signing request before allowing access to their part of the key. Because that all the information being verified comes from the mobile device, attackers can still forge valid transaction signing requests and use the remote keys without actually having access to them. This means that even if an attacker can't get a remote key, they can still use it. This indicates that purely software-based solutions cannot perfectly protect credentials in use when facing a compromised device threat. So why not take advantage of both hardware and software-based protections? If we combine multi-party computing and trust zone, we can address the issue of partial key loss and request forging at the same time. With this hybrid approach, trust zone can act as a trust anchor to enhance the MPC wallet security. Each sending request must be confirmed and authorized by the user through the trust display and secure touch, preventing previous attackers in the normal world from interfering the MPC sending process. However, we have to admit that there are currently no such protections available in the market. We hope that mobile vendors will open more interfaces to support such trust applications in the future. In this slide, we compare different security protection approaches used by popular mobile wallets in the market and evaluate their effectiveness against the threats and compromises devices. To summarize, passcode encryption protects credentials at rest, but not the encryption key. Keystore in trust zone protects encrypted key by keeping them in the secure world, but not during the sending process. MPC wallets separate credentials into multiple parts and distribute them in multiple parties, providing better credential at rest protection, but still vulnerable to request forging. Wallet in trust zone and MPC wallet in trust zone moves the signing process into the secure world and use secure display and secure touch to prevent request forging, provide highest level protection against compromised device threat. Another significant threat to mobile wallets is fake wallets, which impersonates legitimate wallets to steal user credentials and assets. Fake wallets can be distributed through search engine result pollution, fake advertising, and fake wallet official websites. However, due to the time limitations, we won't be discussing this threat in detail today. For those who have interest, please refer to our blog on certic.com for more information. At Certic, we also developed trust zone wallet reference implementations for OPT's ecosystem. We named the project Certic Click. OPTE is the largest open source community for trust zone vendors, which includes mobile devices, IoT devices, and various other embedded devices. However, to date, there have been no blockchain-related reference implementations in the OPTE community. Our goal with Certic is to introduce a blockchain wallet use case into the OPTE community and showcase how trust zone can be used to enhance security for blockchain wallets on mobile and embedded devices. This project is currently under active development and will be fully open source and providing highest level of protection for users' Web3 credentials. It will also be compatible with multiple wallets, including MPC wallets, and be immune to memory safety implementation issues. With this project, we hope to enhance the wallet security for mobile vendors and technical enthusiasts by providing a reliable reference implementation. We believe that this will also be a valuable contribution to the OPTE community and will help to improve the security and blockchain applications on a broader scale. In summary, we have discussed how compromised mobile devices pose a significant threat to Web3 mobile wallets, and the importance of considering the entire life cycle of user credentials when comparing different protection approaches. We also emphasize the necessity of hardware-backed approaches, such as trust zone, along with the secure touch and secure display to protect against compromised device threats. Finally, we introduce Certically, our project that brings blockchain use cases to the largest open source trust zone ecosystem, OPTE. We believe that this will be a valuable contribution to enhance mobile wallet security for the community. Okay, that's the end of my talk. Thanks for attending. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Zhaofeng?